rolling. Shalom, we out here once again. All praises to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Mekakwadash.
So, where do we begin? I was reading into how statistically they say that 50% of Americans that are like the age of 30, they still live at home with their family. So that goes to show you how America is not doing well economically, how everything's expensive. Yeah, so how, everything is expensive. The cost of living is very high. And then if you take a look at how far the dollar goes in other countries, like let's say like Colombia, you really get more bang for your buck. But it's not the same here in America. You know what I'm saying? You come over here, you see the price of a studio apartment, sky high. The price of a mortgage, sky high. Plus utilities, plus food, groceries, water, gas. So it's like, the shit don't ever stop here. That's why a lot of these chicks is out here looking for a sugar daddy. Really, that's what they're looking for, a trick.
Somebody to foot the bill.
Because it's really the same thing across the board everywhere you go. Like, all women want is money and sex. They want money and dick. You know what I'm saying? But it just so happens that you have more of it when you go to like other places, other countries, where money goes further. You know what I'm saying? Out here, shit, everybody's popped. Living paycheck to paycheck. So this place is going down. You heard about that article though? That headline?
Yeah.
That's a reality check. And you know what else I was thinking about today? You remember that show? Was it Family House?
Family House? What's that?
Is it Family House? Hold on.
Full House?
Yeah, Full House. Remember that show?
Uncle Jesse living, the whole family living
Yeah,
up in
yeah,
the
yeah.
crib. Yeah.
That was a shadow of what was to come. You know what I'm saying? You look around, everybody's living like that. Especially Jake, Latinos, so-called Latinos. Now, this poverty is about to spread to white America. See, the thing with that article is, it was really speaking to white America. Because it's over. There's no more American dream. There's no more 401k, pension collection, none of that. Because inflation doesn't stop.
That's really how it is. You'll have like 3 generations growing up under one roof.
I said Family House. That show, you used to watch that, right?
Yeah. You have one house, it'd be like 6 cars outside the motherfucker, in the street, in the driveway. This is Isaiah 32. I'll start at the 9th verse. It says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters."
That's a good scripture.
Give.
A lot of these women, they don't really pay attention to what's going on in the real world.
But women don't understand money, that's why. They don't know how much things cost. They don't get it. They think that shit growing trees for real. That's why women, they'll be popped, but still go on vacation. Because money isn't real to them.
They'll take a trip to Italy, that shit might cost $5,000.
They'll figure, it'll never get that bad for me because I could find a man that's going to pay for something. Like, I could find a man that could cover something. It's not like I'm going to go hungry,
This chick said, once you become my man, you gotta pay a bill.
That's their mindset.
You're gonna be single a long time thinking like that.
Women they expect a man to just come into their life and make it easy. They expect you to commandeer things for them.
But what have they done to earn anything? They just come in with a sense of entitlement.
And if you consider pouring into a woman and thinking you're about to get ROI by pouring into a woman, you're not. You'll never get what you put back in. Again, Isaiah 32:9, it says, "Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled. ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Like the times that we're living in now, men are more conscious of the game that women play. Like everybody knows about foodie calls and how a woman will use you for your resources.
So
Like,
foodie cool.
like everybody's up on that game.
She'll say yes to go on a date with you just so she can get a free meal.
Right. She be trying to pick and choose spots, like wherever you wanted to go wasn't good enough.
She'll be like, then she comes up with another suggestion.
It says, again, tremble ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. Because you women, really everybody, but the women especially, you're gonna get humbled when you can't get your makeup, you can't get your weave installed. You just have to go out just, all natural.
Which is how Jake prefers their women anyway.
Exactly. Now we're gonna really see what you're made of. It says, they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. You say they're gonna be yearning for the times of old when, all they had to do was post a picture on Instagram or walk outside their front door and they had men, flocking to them.
Somebody would bite on it.
Exactly, but now the times we're living in now, Jake don't even be approaching Eve like that no more, Like ultimately, men are just choosing themselves. They're rather just choosing to live the lives that they want to live with no pressure of dealing with an ungrateful woman. And how could you not respect that?
This shit all ends the same.
It says, they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, ye upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city. That was a part of it. You got a piece of it?
Actually, I do. This is another reality check scripture. In Matthew 24:12.
This is Matthew. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Yeah. So love is dead. If it even ever existed. But some people just find out as time goes on, love don't really exist. Everything is conditional, transactional. They say the only people that love you unconditionally is like your mother or your father. But even that's debatable depending on what type of family you're dealing with. So it's like, at the end of the day, man, the best thing you can do is just focus on you and whatever makes you happy. Find whatever makes you the happiest and chase it.
Again, Matthew 24:12.
Because when you start trying to put your happiness in people, that's when you stretch yourself thin. Wear yourself out.
Again, Matthew 24:12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved.
You look around, ain't nothing but iniquity. Like, you try to check all the wrong stuff that's going on in this world, it's like people look at you sideways. They look at you like you're crazy. So don't even expend your energy trying to get everybody on this planet Earth to live a certain way while the so-called white man is in power. Because it ain't gonna happen. This is the way that he wants it to be. He wants us to be divided against one another. He wants us to be chasing after a dollar that's devaluing by the day. He wants us to continue paying taxes. So really, the only thing that we can do is come into this knowledge. I mean, what else is there? Like, this is the most revolutionary act that you can do. It doesn't get any more conscious than this.
So Matthew 24:13, it says, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And that's really what we're waiting on, the end. Waiting for the Lord to blow the trumpet and destroy this place. There's some more on it. Matthew 24:15, it says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. It says, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
Yeah, and that's dealing with like the time of 70 AD, when the Romans said Jerusalem. However, I mean, you can apply that to today in a way. You stuck.
Drunk with his TV dinners.
Yeah, he going home, eat TV dinners, and drink more beers.
Yep.
And pass out. That's the plan.
Kicking right now. He had to.
Yeah, everybody has their thing.
Matthew 24:20 says, but pray ye that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
So, we're living in the times where it feels like everything is speeding up, like time is speeding up, right?
Hell yeah. Today I was getting ready to do my thing. Before I knew it, I looked at my phone and it was 10 o'clock. And I was like, damn, it was just 7. It's Jeremiah 30:10. It says, therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, Yahweh. It says, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity.
And the land of captivity is America. You see, we're not anything other than captives or prisoners of war. That's how we should really look at ourselves. That's how people should look at us. Because we didn't ask to come here. We were brought here during the transatlantic slave trade against our will. Keep going.
Says, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest and be quiet.
Return to what? Our holy lands. And as it stands now, you got the gutter rats over there going to war, doing vile acts. I saw a video, a news report of some young, I guess he was Palestinian, and they offloaded at him, something, I forget. But anyway, he ended up paralyzed, and it was because of that. The Israel knots. And now he's stuck living like that for the rest of his life. And he's only like, 10 years old or something like that. So that's all across the board. There's numerous stories of that. You know? Imagine being a young child and you got your whole life taken away from you. You're paralyzed. You can't walk. You can't do the things that you used to do. You know what I'm saying? You're going to end up in a bout of depression.
Right.
The kid was saying how he struggles with depression now. He can't snap out of it.
Right.
So imagine that.
Jeremiah 30 and 11, it says, "For I am with thee, saith the Lord Yahweh, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee. Yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up, that thou hast not healing medicine." That's the book. Let's go to Daniel chapter 12. Read it quick. Daniel 12 and 1. It says, "And at this time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth before the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book." Now you gotta think of how bad it's gonna get here in America especially. Because you think about all the things that's taking place in the world, you know, starting like say chattel slavery, for example. There's going to be a time that the Lord is going to set upon Babylon the Great that was worse than that. He said a time like never before seen on the earth. So just picture how bad it's going to get. Take everything we've seen in the past, and it's not even going to be as bad as that. It's going to be worse.
It's going to be pandemonium.
Right.
You know, just picture a state of society collapse.
Lawlessness. It's really going to be every man for themselves, because, you know, 911, the operators, they're not taking all these calls. They're not showing up on the scene. By the time they get there, it's too late.
You got 50 states in this country. And, you know, every state's going to be having their own situation. You know what I mean? It's going to be a little bit different depending on each state. Some states could be worse, some states could be better.
You see how they're giving it up in California? They just giving motherfuckers a slap on the wrist for anything. And
you
this ain't Jacob's trouble.
You see all the homeless people living under bridges and tents and stuff like that, and they enable it. They basically allow them to do that.
You got people, they just shoplift because they know nothing can happen to them for it. They'll go in the store and just take some shit off the shelf and walk out. They know nothing's gonna happen. So imagine Jacob's trouble.
So you're gonna have that crowd, the people that are homeless and that already don't got none of the rules. They've been in the trenches. And then you're gonna have the other people that have stuff, and then they're gonna have to defend themselves.
Right.
You know, you're gonna have situations like that.
Marauders. Daniel 12 and 2. It says, "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt."
Yep, and that's
1/3 and 2/3.
the 1/3 to 2/3. The elect. You know, the elect, they're gonna have bragging rights in the kingdom. I always say this, but you know, the elect, they're gonna be humble at the same time, because they're not gonna be like, oh, it was 2/3. They're not gonna rub it in somebody's face. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if you're a Jake, you're an Israelite, then it's all good for you either way. You know what I mean?
It says, "And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words, and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased."
Yeah, so at one point in time, you know, the book was sealed. You know, we didn't have the knowledge of who he really was. We didn't know how to break down the scriptures. You what I'm saying? Remember that movie with Nat Turner? Now he was reading out the Bible. And then, what's the name of that
Birth of a
movie?
Nation.
Yeah, Birth of a Nation, yeah. But then he started reading certain scriptures and it started becoming like radicalized. So just imagine if he knew then what we know now. He would have went crazy.
He'd be doing the same thing he was doing then now.
Yeah.
Probably be doing a life sentence for smoking Esau, and off duty cops, some shit like that.
Probably would have had a bigger movement, like a bigger army. Have more of an impact.
That was Let's go to Isaiah chapter 47.
That's different. That's a different style of living. You know, hardcore chattel slavery, living on a damn plantation, picking cotton all day. Who the hell wants to live like that?
I be seeing like in the movies, when they depict it, and I was like, what would make them go on like this? Like, I'd rather give up the spirit. Like, you could just put me to death.
But you know what's crazy though? You could make the argument that this captivity, like modern day now, is worse.
Yeah.
than that.
I could.
You can actually make that argument now. Because now, instead of you working for a roof over your head and three meals in a cot, now you're working a 9 to 5 for money, and all your money is going towards the bills, and then at the same time your health is deteriorating, and you're never gonna get a chance to retire.
You're still a slave, but now, you gotta support yourself. You gotta feed yourself, clothe yourself, house yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta pay for all of that. Plus, the lifestyle, whatever that may be. This is Isaiah 47:1. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Ye, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man."
So when Yahushua comes back, vengeance is going to be his. He's not going to be calm and collective like he was over 2,000 years ago. The next time he comes back, he's going to be waging war.
And here it is, we living in the information age, Esau can't do nothing and get away with it. The whistle's always being blown on Esau. Whether it's us or, somebody within their system blowing us.
Especially the small hats, they're being exposed now.
Right.
Because nobody likes what they're doing over there in the land of Israel. Israelites.
Again, Isaiah 47:3 says, "Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Ye, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent, and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy."
Yeah, Mosai he was rough with us. Like, he gave us into the hands of our enemies, and it's like, you know that scripture where it says like the deeds of the wicked was like excessive. I forget exactly how it goes.
I know what you're
You know what I'm talking
about.
about,
Yeah,
right? You know it?
Yeah.
Get
We'll
it.
try
If you
to
can
find
get it. But they went too far. They went too far. Separating families. Among other things that I don't even want to mention. So it's like when we get our chance to rule, they be gonna be doing the type of stuff that these Edomites was doing throughout history to Jake. Hell no. I was learning about how every country on earth was willing to admit that the transatlantic slave trade was the worst atrocity to mankind. But the UN didn't officially, acknowledge it because there was 3 countries that voted against it. You know what those countries were? If I remember correctly, it was for sure the United States.
That voted against what?
That voted against slavery being the worst atrocity committed to mankind. And there was 3 countries that voted against that acknowledgement. That was the United States, Argentina, and the small hats, the Israelites, the Israelites. 3 countries that voted against it. Then I also found out that Argentina, the fact that it's in South America, it's like all the way south, South America, it's close to Africa. So that was one of the first stops in the transatlantic slave trade. At one point, they had a 30% population of black people, Africans, so-called Africans, Jake. But then that dwindled throughout time. Now it's like you don't even really see black people out there no more, and they're very, very racist out there in Argentina.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Most of them, they came from other countries.
This is Zechariah chapter 1 verse 15. It says, "And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction." That was the precept you was talking about.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, they helped forward the affliction, but it was too far. They went too far, man.
That's what the Lord, was talking about back in Isaiah 47 when he said, "No mercy." Esau showed us no mercy. He separated the family structure, separated the husband, wife, children, set them all.
He's doing it now, even now,
right.
to this day, but just in a different form.
Right. I'm telling you, you could make the case that this is worse. Back in those days of chattel slavery, we break up a whole family.
It was physical then, but now it's psychological now.
Right.
The chains we have around us.
Imagine you're a man and Esau separates your family, sends your wife to another plantation and your children to another plantation.
One in Virginia, the other one in Georgia somewhere.
Not knowing what's going on with your family. And then as a man, Esau expects you to just sit there and do nothing. That's what he means by no mercy, buck breaking, stuff like that.
You said it. I didn't want to mention that.
I'm telling you, man. Esau was really just sitting there and meditating on wickedness to commit to Jake. You see videos of where you'll see furniture from back in those times, and it's filled with human hair and stuff like that.
It's made from human skin.
Here it is, George Washington. That demon has Jake's teeth in his mouth. I'm telling you, this is the devil that we're dealing with.
That's what they did when they got into power. I'm trying to think of that African nation that was conquered by Germany, and they committed a G-note against the people. Look at this map. I think it was Zambia. Can you look that up? Zambia G-note. Yeah, so this happened back in 1904 through 1908. Yeah, so the genesis, the G-note in Nambia, it's Nambia, not Zambia. It was from 1904 to 1908. Imperial Germany carried out exterminations of tens of thousands of the people over there. They did a whole whole documentary about it. You should see it. And they was sending out the skulls over there back in Germany, like the actual skulls. They was letting them like starve to death, and they wasn't giving them no water in the deserts. Man, it was crazy what they did.
That's Esau's
And
MO.
I think Germany acknowledged that, and they gave them like some sort of reparations. But it was still wasn't enough.
You see how they did the lickle hats, sent them in chambers and all of that to be aired out. This is the way Esau gets down. You see, Jake, we not gonna do that. 12 tribes, we gonna, take a sword, handle you, but to just send you in a chamber and just let you go out like that in a chamber like full, like that's Esau's MO right there. Only Esau can meditate on that kind of wickedness.
Yeah.
Just coming up with ways to destroy a nation.
But we're gonna do the same thing though. You know how the scriptures say that mind shall meditate on terror. Matter of fact, let me get that.
But like gas chamber style, I don't see us doing that. That's Esau's MO.
I mean, we're gonna have superpowers in the kingdom anyway, so we can do bigger and better things than that. Shoot like some lightning out of our hand or something like that.
Yeah, 'cause that gas chamber, that's a slow death right there.
But getting electrocuted is expensive. Not necessarily expensive. I said that's painful too. Yeah, that's Isaiah 33 and 18. Thine heart shall meditate to terror. That's not it. Is it? Yeah. Get some context. I can't.
That's not it.
Yeah, either way, it's not this. No. You got some?
Where are you at right now? Where are you right now?
Isaiah 33, 18.
This is back in Isaiah 47 and 6. It says, I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou verily, it says, upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to my heart, to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures and dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. See, that's the pride of Esau. He thinks nothing's going to happen to him. But the Lord already wrote the script.
Yeah, they be doing like rituals, trying to get energy from the left hand side to stay on, stay in power, or stuff they like to do.
Right.
The files got released, and they found out that they like drinking people's blood. They basically like committing cannibalism.
They're making their left hand sacrifices. Isaiah 47 and 9. It says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. The loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in the perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth thee. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge is it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me.
Yeah, so society, it's not what it used to be. It's gotten worse. There's no family structure. People's health be deteriorating. And at the same time, you got the top wicked elite that run the world, and they don't do nothing to improve the quality of life on this earth. So this is going exactly the way that they want it to go. Because just think, they say that nobody will ever really be able to truly retire because of inflation. So that means that people that are 60, 70 years old, they're going to have to continue to work. That's why when you go to Target, or when you go to the grocery store, you see old people over there working. If you wanted to ask them, like, yo, how old are you? What are you doing still working? And they'd be like, oh, I can't retire. I don't have enough money. I got this and that. Most dudes that are married or that are in relationships, they end up starting a family, having kids. So that's that widowhood. Eventually dudes is gonna end up just dropping dead once they reach a certain age. Because their health is just deteriorating. You know what I'm saying? Years and years of stress, trying to maintain a family, trying to keep their wife happy. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody should be in their 70s still working, still having to work. That's not good for you. On your body, on your mental. But this is America, though.
You got people that work 2 jobs, 3 jobs.
You constantly got to have, income coming in. Not even to get ahead, just to stay afloat, you know what I'm saying? Right. Isaiah 47:12, it says, stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. That's the point. Let's go to Romans chapter 12, verse 19. It says, this is Romans 12 and 19. It says, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. You see, so now isn't the time for us to try and, get vengeance and try and level the playing field and make things even. We never could.
Overthrow the system.
Right, we could never do that.
I love with that.
Esau has generations and generations of wickedness under his belt. We could never catch up to him.
Many have tried and many have failed.
Right. So that's why we just got to be patient. Let the Lord, make straight what is crooked. If you're doing anything else, you're really just aggravating yourself. Because what you want to come out of it is going to come out of it, You're really doing it for nothing. You think you about to overthrow Esau's system? You?
Little old you.
Come on, let's be realistic.
People gotta realize that's the whole point of Yahweh Shah coming back. Is to take down this man's system. Nobody can do it but him.
Right.
Otherwise, pretty sure it would have happened already. Somebody would have figured it out. But, it's impossible to do ourselves on our own. You got a whole financial system and military system set in place. You got the UN, NATO, the EU. And that's why Africa being the most richest continent on earth, resource-wise, You got a lot of countries in there that ain't doing well economically.
Venezuela.
Yeah, you got Venezuela. You know why? It's because they've been shut out from the global economy.
It was cut out the deal.
So that only leaves them one choice: to sign a deal with the devil. Give up their resources to Esau. And that's when you got oil companies moving into Nigeria, mining for oil and destroying the environment.
You got the leader of the country getting taken out so they can put a puppet leader in there that's just gonna forward their agenda. It's all a game.
And that's why they don't like that radical leader over there in that country, Africa. I forget the name of that country.
Burkina Faso.
Yeah, that guy. Him. That's why they don't like him, because he's coming with some pro-black energy. We're not messing with the white man. We don't want to deal with them. We want to be independent, self-sufficient. That's his message that he pushes. People love him.
Because that's really the spirit that you're gonna be in. Like, yo, I don't even want this devil's help. Like, he defiles everything he gets involved in. That scripture. He comes in like he's your friend, but he's just waiting to overthrow you. That's it.
And clearly, there's a pattern.
Right.
Right.
Could a zebra change its stripes?
Could a leopard change its spots?
So 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 14. It says, "Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled, and shall not be put out, till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returneth not backwards. Even so, the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days?" That's it on that. But that's something you have to take into consideration. When the Lord allows the other nations to shoot their missiles here, and then you have, nuclear missiles pelting Babylon the Great, plus the chariots destroying America, how are you going to escape this? What is your plan, How could you see yourself escaping this judgment on Babylon the Great? Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah is the only way. But if you don't know the knowledge, you don't have the true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Lord, you're just going to be caught out there, Like the scriptures say, he wasn't prepared, like a thief in the night.
And if you don't want to believe what we're saying, then believe us when we tell you to leave the country. If you don't want to repent or acknowledge the fact that you're an Israelite, then shoot, at least leave the country.
But if the Lord, if he wants you, he's going to get you there too. The scriptures say, it's like a man running away from the bear. He laid his hand, he was in the house. It's like, you can't escape the judgment of the Lord. If it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. If you're not going to make it onto the chariot, you're not going to make it.
Plus, they probably going to wind up taking the chip anyway.
Right. Because we know, like, how many people that's not dealing with this faith, that's in the world, that's not going to take the chip? Everybody I know is going to take the chip. And you want to know how I know that? Because they took the jab. That was the precursor to everything.
That's true.
So you failed the quiz, you're going to ultimately fail the test. Because why? You didn't prepare.
Remember, you couldn't even get a job. Like, they was kicking out, police officers off the job, and then they let them come back in.
You couldn't go out and eat at restaurants. All kind of dumb shit. But again, people willingly took it. Why? Because they wanted a semblance of the old life back before the P Diddy, the pandemic.
People be trying to compare life to what it was like 10 years ago. I wish it was 2015 again, 2016. You had a little bit extra money in your pocket. Now you broke.
Right.
what's good? What's good?
So,
Just throw some shit up. Is he crippin'?
what is possible? That baby voice. This is I think I was done. Oh no, there's still more. This is 2nd Ezra 16:16. It says, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backwards, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. You see, because the Lord, He puts this vibration, this energy out in the world. You know, He puts this tribulation and this hell on you, you know, in hopes that you would repent. You see, when you're catching all this hell, it might make you reflect. Like, why am I catching all this hell? What is going on in my life? But are you living righteously? Are you doing your best? Are you doing your best to serve the Lord? Are you forwarding His will? These are all things that you should be asking yourself when you're catching hell.
Everything may seem fine when you look at people's lives from the outside. But trust me, everybody's fucked up.
Everybody, literally.
They may not even try to acknowledge it as much, you know? They try to downplay. Did you ever take a look at this, take a glimpse into somebody's life? And you're like, damn, they living bad. They be doing some certain things, living a certain way you could never do. You know, that's why you don't compare yourself to other people.
And then you got somebody who may ask, how do you know that you know, people are moving like this? People are moving wicked like this because they're in the flesh. They're in this world.
And you know what? You want to know something? A lot of the times, people be depressed and they don't even realize it.
That's a real
until
thing.
they make it through it.
Right.
They look back at it like, damn, I was really tripping. And then just,
Yeah. You know what? But that's a real thing, though. You don't even know you're depressed while you're going through it. It's till you make it on the other end, and you be like, wow. You compare the life of now and then, and you be like, wow, I was actually depressed.
You was normalizing abnormal behavior.
Right.
And that's what happens every day in people's lives, you know?
Second Ezra 16:20. It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So you got people that might think, oh, since the price at the pump went down, things are getting better. But they're not.
They're saying that it's about to run out of gas. Oh, that's what they saying.
That happened to me earlier this week. I went to this gas station. I'm trying to get gas. The pump ain't working. Dude had to come out here and was like, oh, we have no more gas.
Really?
I'm like, what you mean?
When this happened?
Earlier in the week, probably like Monday, Tuesday.
You should have did a video on that. 'Cause remember Trump said a couple weeks ago how we have only like 30 or 20 days left until the reserves of oil runs out.
Yeah.
So we'll see how true that is. You do the exact math on that. That's Wednesday next week.
Then later on, I drove past that same gas station, and there was like a truck coming to put gas, you know, fill the gas up. But it was a small ass truck, and it wasn't like those big tanker trucks that usually come. It was like a small gas truck.
Yeah, so on one hand, they got people saying, oh, the United States produces oil, you know, we can supply ourselves. And then on the other hand, you got people saying that there's going to be an oil and gas shortage, they're running low with the reserves. So we'll see what happens, man. But Trump did come out and say a couple of weeks ago, like, yeah, we're running low in the reserves. And then all these people that was around him, it was like they looked perturbed when he said that, like he wasn't supposed to say that. So we'll see. You know, we entered into a scenario where there's like a gas shortage and they start giving you a limit to how much gas you can put in your car. I mean, just think how people then reacted to that. Because what if you got to drive far? What if you got to commute to work? It's gonna be to the point where it's not even worth you going into work.
Or they're gonna be taking it back, like, yo, if your license plate start with a positive number, you get gas on this days, and if it starts with another number, not a non-positive number, you got to go on this day.
Because that's what, in theory, that's what's supposed to happen with this whole war, with with the Strait of Hormuz being shut. Sometimes they say it's open, sometimes they say it's shut. I'm leaning towards it being shut, and they're not letting nobody do it. So in theory, what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to be an oil and gas shortage. So could this be the summer where it goes down? You start getting into late July and August, you start seeing the effects of this war. I mean, shit, I welcome it.
Right. It's been short, bro.
Right, I've been ready to go.
It's 21st verse, 2 Ezra 16 and 21. It says, behold, vitriol shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth.
The victuals represents food. So you go back 10 years ago, it's like, yeah, stuff wasn't so bad, it wasn't so expensive back then. You know? So you can even go back 3, 4, pre-panoramic, and stuff is more affordable.
Shit, now you're paying almost $10 for a pint of organic blueberries. This is where we're at.
But if you think about it though, like 5 years ago, 3 years ago, I mean, it was still trending downward, this country.
Right. That's what leads me to believe, yo, this is it. Like, we're almost out of here. Because how much longer? Can you really see Babylon going on another 10 years from where we are now? Like, how much worse could it really get before everybody just has nothing?
I'd have fucking died before I'd be here another 20, 10, 30, 40 years.
Right.
Imagine being 60 years old in America.
That, man, I be meditating on that, like, it depresses you. Imagine you just here in America for another 20 years.
But it ain't going down like that.
Right. Imagine growing old in this bitch. This is depressing.
It ain't going down like that.
2 Ezra 16 and 22, it says, For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the others that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. You see, here it is, you're going to be living in Babylon, the great America. This ain't no third world country, but you're still going to have people dying of starvation. That's how real it's going to
It might as well be a third world country, because what's the difference between America and, let's say, a country like Colombia?
Convenience?
Yeah, convenience. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think of a country where it's like, it's a little bit shaky, it's considered a third world country. I mean, there's so many out there. But again, what's the difference between America and a third world country? Convenience, what you can get a FedEx package shipped to your house.
Even like, say like Puerto Rico. Like, they live a certain way of life here that in America,
Puerto Rico's a U.S. territory.
you don't really got to worry about it. Like, it's rare that you just in your crib and your power just goes out on you. Now you don't got power for days, like, and the bills is paid. But that's the reality that they deal with on that island. Your power can just go out. You don't know when it's gonna come back on. Like you said, it's a U.S. territory.
So this is basically like a third world country. You know, going back to the report earlier that I was talking about, they're saying that people that's 30 years old, more than half the country, they still living at home. So that says a lot about the state of the economy. You know, a lot of people can't afford to branch out and live on their own.
Because that's just the natural way of life. You live with your parents, you grow up, you get your own shit, you get your woman, and then y'all start y'all family, and that's just the course.
But even that shaky. Imagine trying to start a family in 2026.
Having a child in 2026 is a curse.
That's a curse. Not only that, you got to deal with like a lot of these women that ain't right. Good luck trying to find a solid chick that's gonna really be in your corner. You thick and thin. Good luck with that. And are you supposed to build a family with that? With her?
Shit was always messed up though. Like, even back in like say like the early 2000s, you know, we still dealing with those same problems. You know, the women weren't right then.
And then she gonna expect you to marry her. Or else she gonna leave you.
Give you an ultimatum.
But it seems like nowadays, you know, relationship might last, they might stay together if they got a kid. But like you said, having a kid is like a burden.
It is a burden. I've literally had people say with children, like, they'd be like, I'm not gonna lie, my child is a burden. And we all know that to be true. Even people that might not say it, they know it to be true. Having a child when you're not even financially prepared for it,
Yeah, it wasn't planned.
you'll never get ahead. You'll never get ahead.
You was laid up with your girl, you was in love, you know, you wound up having a child together.
Right.
Now you kind of have no choice but to stay together. Unless she wants to be back in the dating market as a single mother, which there's plenty of that out there as well. I wouldn't advise taking that deal neither.
Tell you, these women, they just dug themselves in such a hole. They're looking to be saved. They want somebody. They want some help. But again, there's nothing wrong with it. But what can they do for you? What do they have to give you that they haven't already gave someone else?
They won't even go out for you the way that they expect you to go out for them.
Exactly. These women, they looking for suckers. They just want a good deal.
They be like, pay a bill, pay my bill. Bitch, would you pay my bill?
Yeah, right.
If I ask you for a couple dollars, would you give it to me? You might look at me like I'm crazy.
That's why you gotta test these women.
Like, yo, we get a couple dollars, we get $600. I gotta pay this bill.
That's why you gotta test them.
Then you have to pay that back. Chick will ask you for money for her bill, and then you're not even expected to expect that money back. Like, it's just supposed to just be good.
Again, 2 Ezra 16 and 22 says, For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy.
See, that's exactly what we was talking about. Pushing a stroller, kids, children, a girl.
They don't be having, you know, some people, they be having 2 or 3 children. They don't even care to, you know, afford to really handle one.
Yeah.
They be having 2 and 3 of them. You know what I'm saying? Again,
I look at that and I shun it.
it's a hard knock life.
It can't be me.
Hard knock
I can't
life.
go out like that in America. See, you'll truly be able to enjoy your wife and your kids when we're in the kingdom.
Right. When you have the means to do so. Because in America, everything is financial. So if you don't have it, you're going to be struggling. There's no 2 ways to cut it. If you ain't got it, you're going to be struggling.
Yeah, like I don't want that effect. I don't.
Yeah, having a woman and child, that's not even something I even yearn for at all. In this setup, no. But in the kingdom of heaven, we going to have hundreds of children. We going to have plenty of children.
That's what we're gonna be doing with our lives. We're gonna be having a lot of sex, and whatever else you're into, whatever you like to do.
The women, they're not going to be jealous of each other.
That's what you're gonna be doing.
Your children, they're going to be in order. Your women, they're going to be in order. It's going to be amazing.
That's really what I want to do in my life. I just want to relax, have multiple women, and yeah, I like playing basketball. You know, that's me personally.
We just want to live the lives that we want to live. In Babylon, you can't do that.
You damn sure ain't being no fucking doctor or no lawyer. I don't want to do that with my life.
You don't have a dream
Anything
job.
anything in this stratosphere, anything in this world, it don't interest me because I'm thinking bigger and better.
So what's your 10-year plan? What are you gonna do?
Man, who the hell wants to work a 9 to 5 and be a slave?
You don't got a dream job?
Your desire should be not to work. And that's how women feel in their hearts. And that's why they want to do to sponsor their lifestyle. So in a way, you can't really blame
They're
them.
not wrong for that. That's what I'm saying. Like us, we understand the world that we live in and the double standard. Like we're not mad at women for wanting a man to take care of them. Like of course,
If we had it,
we would.
we would.
But they look at us like it's our fault that they gotta work. But really, it's your fault. You and Esau, you and the serpent. You got in bed with the serpent, and now you gotta work. At first, it was liberating. Now, it's frustrating.
I mean, expecting the dude to take care of you, all that went out the window once feminism came into play.
Facts.
Because now you can go and get a job and get your own money.
Fuck all that. I'll be damned if I'm footing the bill and paying for a woman's life that's not a virgin. That's crazy. Here it is, this woman been giving that pussy out to everybody, and now when she meets you, she wants you to marry her and take care of her.
And you're the sucker if you buy into
Even if I had it like that, I still wouldn't do it
And you know what? The dude that does that, they don't even get respected.
at all.
They still get cheated on.
That's a sucker's deal.
That's why they like the drug dealers, they like the scammers, they like the felons, and they like the rich niggas. If you're just a regular guy that's like in between, good luck.
And that's we know that to be true through the entertainment system. With that new, where all my scamming ass niggas at. Got getting that Goyard bag. But see, that's the vibration here that's pushed in Babylon.
That's why a lot of the regular dudes, they just get their passport and going over to Colombia or somewhere.
And not caring what these women have to say about it.
And I was looking at the flight tickets to Colombia. They
Can't be much.
like $600.
Round trip.
I think it was a one way.
Damn,
I'm not even sure.
600.
I don't travel like that. I don't travel.
Watch them leave the shit running. Leave the music running. Right in the store.
They didn't even shut that off.
Second Ezra 16 and 23. It says that the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men. See, all places desolate of men. And this coincides with Isaiah 4 and 1. You see, when the men are just dying off there in Babylon, you're going to have men that stood the test of time.
Or they leave this country to get the fuck out of here.
Right. Or they were sent out in the draft, now they're in the fighting the war. However the circumstances may be, you're gonna have the men that's still here, you're gonna have women even to those men. 2 and 3 at a time, you know?
And it's low key like that now. You got a lot of women now, they're starting to embrace polygamy.
If you're a man,
Polygamy.
right. If you're a man that's doing okay for yourself, you can support yourself, you don't gotta be rich. You got some money in your pocket, you can have 2 women. Like, you could get another woman. It ain't really nothing, especially here in this setup. It ain't nothing to get another woman.